That's large. Adante Pointer will be coming up to present the Hall of Fame Award by John Burris.
Evening. The Hall of Fame. I think we're supposed to have a jersey or maybe a blazer with his name on the back being lifted into the rafters. What do you think? This is a man whose record is essentially unblemished, except for the fact that you're a Kappa and not a member of my own fraternity, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. It's the only blemish on that record. You know, we kid about that all the time. This is a man who really, truly needs no introduction, except that I'm going to give him one, because since I've been working for him for about the last 11 years or so, he's given me plenty of tasks, and this is one of them. But this is one that I actually enjoy. And he did not personally give it to me. He sent it to somebody else, and he gave it to me. Mr. John Burris. He is an advocate. We've all grown to know, love, and count on him to represent our interests, to push the social agenda forward, to stand for us, to take the brave positions that others, for a number of reasons, cannot, will not, but he does. A gracious, humble servant in the sense that he gives of himself. As many of us in this room know him as a mentor, federal and state judges, many attorneys count on him for advice, and with that, he's a counselor. I have seen many celebrities, people that we all look to know and look up to, come to him for his sage wisdom. He's also more than that. He's an architect of the law. And what I mean by that is that in the area of the law that he's chosen to dedicate his life to, the civil rights and advancement of everyone in this room, he has crafted that law. Little did I know, although I saw him on TV a lot growing up here in the Bay Area, but once I became an attorney and I started talking about cases and citing them in my memos, I would look and it would have his name as the attorney that represented that person, that plaintiff that needed help when there was no one else to turn to. John Burris. Also, more than just a legal architect, but also a humanitarian. Many people may or may not know, but he had a baseball team for many years because he's very fond of baseball. And I have been out with him in public where now men who are now grown will come up to him and say, "Mr. Burris, you know, I used to play in left field," or "I was your catcher." And he'll say, "Man, he wasn't that good, but but he would never say it to their face." Or Mr. Burris, John Burris, being a father to not only his biological children, but to many other people who he has accepted under what he calls his Big Ten. Me, myself, being one of those people. I look to him as a father figure. John Burris, the Hall of Fame resume in terms of advocating, once again, on behalf of our rights and getting those landmark decisions, representing people in the Ryder's case, people from our own part of town in West Oakland, getting them justice, being the de facto chief of the police department of Oakland. Yeah. Being the person who, starting with Melvin Black, who was the Trayvon Martin Oscar Grant of his day, representing that young man and getting his family justice for what has happened to him. All the way up until today, where we look at movies such as Fruitvale and understand that this man is the person who quarterbacked that case and made sure there was a touchdown. John Burris, still at it, hardworking, and for that we love him, and for that we raise you your tribute to the Hall of Fame. Please.
Adante. When I heard about the Hall of Fame, you know, I only thought about people who have retired and have retired about 5 years, and I thought maybe that's what people were thinking about what I've been doing for the last 5 years, that I really have been retired, and that it's show and tell. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not. And although I'm in the process of passing the torch to Adante and Whit and others at that table, I have not yet done so. Because in large measure, because I really do enjoy the work and the opportunity that I have to serve this community and others. But also in receiving the Hall of Fame announcement, it did cause me to reflect on the many years that I've been involved with Charles Houston. And the importance of Charles Houston to me, not only as a bar association, but the legacy of Charles Houston in terms of the work that he did, along with Thurgood Marshall, and the impact it has had upon all of us for many years to come. And so I've always felt very strongly about that legacy, but as I look at the awards that have been given here, Clinton White and Ben Travis, these were very important men to me. When I came up on the scene back in the late 70s, Clinton White and Ben Travis, Robert Harris, who's here, although he's a lot older than me. but it was very important to what was going on in the Bar Association. And so I understood the legacy that those men had set forth and the trails that they had blazed. And it was important for me to follow along those ways and to do what I could to move the social agenda. So I've been very fortunate to be able to do that. And I actually must admit that I obviously have not been able to do it all by myself, although I get a lot of public attention, but my staff, the lawyers there, you saw DeWitt, you know, not DeWitt, Adante and DeWitt and Lateef, and the others there, there right now with Maxine and Marley and Ayana, and all of whom have been very important. Of course, the most important person, as many of you know, in the last 15 years, has been my wife, Cheryl, who has certainly added another dimension to my life that was extraordinarily important, and it's really made it possible and much easier for me to do the work. One of the things I'm most proud of is being able to do the work. I've been able to transfer some of those ideals onto my daughter, Courtney, who's here, and that she is becoming a really fine litigator. I must admit she's farther along than I was at the stage that she's in now. And so her future is bright in that regard. But she's like all of you. The torch that Robert and I and others carried for many years is being passed on to you. And it's up to you individually and collectively to carry forth the ideals that Charles Houston and Thurgood Marshall and others, and more locally, Clint White. I was very much affected, as you all know, by Henry Ramsey. He was a very close friend and who really provided a lot of direction for me. And of course, many of you know that I was close to Johnny Conklin, and he also had real significance in the life that I've been able to choose as a profession. So we're all the sum parts of what we've had contact with, and those people have affected us in various ways. And I certainly feel that, and I'm happy that I've been able to trail and follow through on many of those ideas. So the Hall of Fame, to me, only means that I'm accomplished a lot based upon what was given to me by many of the people before. And I hope that the life that I've led as a lawyer will be symbolic to other young people like yourselves, and some of you will blaze the trail that you can to move the social agenda. Because I do believe that from a historical point of view, each of us have an opportunity in our own time, in our own life, to move the social agenda forward. And we do that in different kinds of ways, but it will be done. So again, let me just say thank you for receiving this particular award. I believe that it's important that each generation pass the torch to the next generation. And although I'm not passing it tonight, I certainly will be saying that. And I'm not fighting it either. understand that time has a way of making you see things in a more clear, direct way. So I also thank all of you, and I appreciate the opportunity, and appreciate that I've been given this particular honor at this time. Thank you.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have a